Welcome. Hope everyone's feeling fantastic out there. Thanks for tuning in. Today I've got a really cool episode for you. I think you're really going to like it. We're going to dig into Venezuelan cards and the history, the mystery, and my personal Venezuelan collection. And we're going to take it a little bit different angle than what you might have seen. So, yeah, let me just jump right in. So, in the late 50s, a guy, Delio Amato Leon, he was a popular sportscaster. He was really like a national treasure. He was also the director of this magazine, Sports Grafico. And he is known as a sort of a hustler, a guy with a true like entrepreneurial spirit. And we're going to get into what he pulled off. So basically, in 1959, he secured an agreement with Topps to produce cards for Venezuela. And here's a great example of the 59s. And if we flip, we could see printed in USA and impreso in Venezuela for Banco CA. So this was the first year that it kicked off, and clearly a success. And from there, it appears that Topps granted an extended license starting in 1960 with plans to produce cards every year for Venezuela. It appeared it was every other year through the 60s, the even years. So we know that happens, right? So 1960, if you look, you see they're very, very close, but they're a little different. They don't have the gloss. They have a slight shimmer. It's been referred to as a sandstone type of finish where it has a little gloss there. These are always taped in. So, next we have the 62s. And the cool thing about the 62s, and only the 62s, was the Spanish on the backs. So they really spent a lot of time on this set. And the Elio Chacon, very interesting card. And if you notice, for him, 199 in the top set, I believe the 199 was Gaylord Perry, and they had a little bit of a license to do their own thing with those. Then we move to 64. Taped in, and another classic 64 is this Mickey. So we move now on to 66. This is one of my favorite cards. Obviously the Vene, also fantastic. The backs have a slightly different color, and the Super G Roberto. A little tape, a little glue, I should say, not too crazy. And then, so we are going to skip 67 for a second and then jump into 68s. And look at these beauties. Look at them close. HO in Venezuela, CA Litven. Okay. So as you could see, we skipped 1 year, which is 67, and that is really a amazing and mysterious year. So after 5 very successful runs of putting out these Topps cards in Venezuela, we had this off year in 67 because they were really only doing the even years, 60, 62, 64, and 66. In 67, the Sports Grafico team and Delio decided there's a need for cards. And what they did was they created a Winter League set. So obviously this was not a set that was produced in the U.S. This here is Retirado, card number 1 in the set. And what they did was they produced all of the Winter Leaguers. And that was a 6-team set. You had Caracas. Here's another. You had Magallanes. You have the La Guara. Sweet card here. Oops. You have the Aragua. Set this aside for a second. You have the Juan Campos Valencia. And then the Winter League portion of the 67s wrapped up with Lara. And this, Dario Chirinos, was the last card of the Winter League set, number 138. Then we have a special set, seemingly as a way to connect with Venezuelan baseball history lovers and folks that just were into the MLB. They released this set of Retirado, which obviously stands for retired, and it's all retired legends. And this card, number 139, was the next card in the set. As you could see, glue marks from the album. Now, this was card 139, Bill Dickey, number 140. Blue, 141. Joe DiMaggio. So, although there's really not a closely documented history of the production of these, it's very clear that Sports Grafico pulled images of 50 players from different places. The images come up all over the place. They gave them a nice blue sky background, and actually, that's why I was holding this one off. So, we're going to do a little example here. So, here's the Baberta. You notice the super blue sky. So this is how I envision these sets coming together. Okay, so we've got this Bob Berta. Look at that gorgeous blue sky. Let's extend the sky a little bit. Ooh, look at that. Now we have a nice blue. Let's crisp it up a bit. Now let's go find a photo. Ooh, that's a nice photo of Joe D. Let's zoom it in. Okay. Let's give it a little cutout. How's that looking? That's good. Oh, look, there's no bat piece. Let's add that bat piece. Okay. Let's tint it up. All right. Tint it. Crop it. Put that little finishing touch on. And yeah, then voila. We got ourselves the Joe DiMaggio. There's so many awesome cards in this set. Just gonna show you a lot of the ones I have here. Ted, Satch, the legendary Ty Cobb, and you can really see it appears that they just cut these, right, and stuck them on top of the blue. Pie Trainer, Malott. Love this Bill Terry. Some of them have really fun ways that they did it. So now I'm going to get into something cool that I always thought was awesome about the actual production process of how they pulled those images. And specifically the errors. The errors. So this beauty of a Sai, right? So if you look, and this has been brought up before, my guy Vintage Car Wonderland has chatted about it, I've chatted about it. The information in the bios are very funny. So Gano 54, Padillo 315. That would lead you to believe Cy Young had a terrible record as a pitcher. And this was just one of the many funny things about the production of these. So here's a great one, the Babe. Look what they did here. So they cut out Babe, completely cut out the back of his head behind the bat, and just left it like that. Al Simmons decided no need to have his foot. Let's just cut his foot off. Right? No foot. Christy Matheson decided, we'll just leave this little piece under his arm. We won't cut that out to make it blue. And one of the most ridiculous of all, the Ted Kluszewski, which is really not Ted at all. A much skinnier man named Gene Bearden, who was a left-handed pitcher. And it would be really cool if they made an actual Ted Kluszewski Retirado. And so I'm gonna make that one for you guys. Check it out. Okay. So now we're going to get into just some more Retirados. Luke Appling, Whitey, Jimmy Collins. It's a real clean one. For a 1, it's crazy. The back is a little messed up. Thanks, Eddie. The front's insane for a 1 on that one, though. Lefty. Sisler. The legendary Yog. Beto Avila. Rogers. And then the very first one I picked up, which is Connie. And this is card 188 and the final card in the Retirado set. So now that we've burned through the Retirados, we really get into the most mysterious part of the 1967 Venes, and I'm pumped to dig into that with you. So as we've touched on already, it's clear that Sports Grafico was just sort of pulling iconic images from all over the place and making the Retirado cards, right? So this is a sweet Stan, which I actually don't have his Retirado yet. But so basically, after card number 188, we then move in to major leaguers, right? And this gets super interesting. So let me just show you the first here. So here's Mickey, right? And if you look, this is not what the 1967 tops look like. It's what the 1967 Venezuelan Winter League and Retirados look like on the back, right? So here's another example of an Ovenca card, right? Here's another sweet one. Isaias Chavez, who had quite the tragic story. But you see the similarities here? These are straight up Venes and how they were produced. And Ovenca also had ties to Delio. They were kind of all worked together. And the notebooks, the albums I should say, that these were getting stuck in were literally made by Sports Grafico. So the 1967 set had an album right here meant to place these cards in, and they really did their thing by what's arguably pirated, right? If you look, they're sort of zoomed in. There is a almost photocopy-ish vibe to them. Now, these are real. These were the official cards, but the argument is that they were unlicensed and they were still put out. Now, I wanted to show you a really cool example of something from Sports Grafico that sort of shows their comfort and willingness to bend copyrights, etc. So check out this sweet 1973 Sports Grafico of Willie Mays, right? A few months before this was the Sports Illustrated of Willie Mays as a Met. If you look closely at where Sports Illustrated lies on this magazine, let's take a look at the Sports Grafico. If you see right here, literally cut out and placed on top. It still has Sports Illustrated on his helmet. They just kind of added a little more blue to make it less noticeable. But this is just an example of the comfort that I discovered that Sports Grafico and Delio and team had in producing things on their own that might not have been approved from the place that they all began. So I thought this was an amazing discovery. I was sort of buying up these Sports Graficos because I was so curious and just digging through them and didn't even notice this at first. And when I did, I was blown away by it, but I thought you guys would find that to be very interesting in terms of how all this production went down. Yeah, so really appreciate you guys tuning in. I've been meaning to put this together for a while now. Hope you enjoyed it. I look forward to continuing to expand on this more. Thanks so much for tuning in. Looking forward to hearing what you have to say, what you like best about the video. I know I'm not putting out a ton of videos, so if you're missing them, you know, there's that little notification thing you can hit. If you're following, if you're subscribed, I should say, thank you so much, much appreciated, and hope you have a great day, and we'll talk soon.